Hi, in this video I want to talk about an anime I watched recently called Violet Evergarden. This is going to be my review of the show, and obviously this means that these are going to be my opinions according to my tastes and preferences. So the story is about a girl who used to be a soldier, and now that the war is over, she has survived, but she lost both her arms. So she has mechanical arms now, and she has to learn how to live life after the war. She ends up working at a postal company, and the story is about how she understands what love means, because this is a character who doesn't understand emotions and she has trouble with emotions. So we learn a little bit about her character and we follow her journey as she works as an auto memories doll, which means she's someone who writes letters for other people and interprets their emotions into letters, and this way she learns what love is. So let's talk about what I liked in the show. This is very well known for its music and its beautiful animation and art. So I agree, it is visually very pretty. And the second thing I liked is the concept. So what I just told you, I found the premise very appealing. A girl who used to be a soldier and now she has to make a new life after the war, learn to use her new mechanical arms. They're basically the auto that we see in Full Metal Alchemist, if you've seen that show. And like meet new people and just learn how to deal with her trauma and things like that. So it had the potential to be a story that I would really enjoy, especially the setting. Violet ends up working in a postal company after she recovers. So I thought this setting was very interesting, with her co-workers, and that would have been a very interesting cast of characters that she could then have relationships or friendships with. But unfortunately, it turned out to be something quite different, and I didn't end up enjoying it. So let's move on to what I didn't like in the story. And my first criticism would be the structure of the show and how the story is told. So the show has 13 episodes, and these are all individual episodes that tell the emotional or like sad stories of people that Violet meets when she travels to far off places for her work. Personally, I prefer stories that focus on one protagonist and we slowly learn more about them and we see them grow. This format of Violet meeting new people, and so just meeting a totally new character for the first time in an episode and only having them around for one episode just to tell an emotional story about them is not something I enjoyed. So this kind of format, telling a new story about an unrelated character in every episode, meant that there was very little focus on Violet herself and the people she actually interacted with on a daily basis. Like I said before, I thought that her co-workers at the postal company would have made really interesting side characters, but they were neglected. And we even got very few details about Violet herself. There was just not much backstory about how she even ended up being a soldier at such a young age. And that meant that her arc to me felt a bit empty. And I have more to say about the way Violet's character was handled. But the thing is, we get so little about her that I feel like if I talk about it, it's going to be spoilers, because throughout the show you find out like very small details about her, and I guess knowing them beforehand would make the reveal less interesting. So I'm going to warn you that now I'm going to talk about spoilers, and you should skip to the next timestamp if you want to avoid them. So I felt that Violet's character was treated like a robot unnecessarily. Like, you'll notice that she had a monotonous voice, she spoke in overly technical language, and she was really good at everything she did. Like, I understand that her typing was amazingly fast and accurate because she had mechanical arms. That makes sense. But why was she just a prodigy at everything? How did she turn out to be a letter writing prodigy when emotions are actually her flaw? She can't understand them properly. That didn't make sense to me. And talking about emotions, I think her problem is that she doesn't understand emotions. She can't put them into words. Something about just intellectually understanding emotions, because I know that she feels emotions. We see her feeling emotions. She's really attached to Gilbert. She's desperate to see him when she recovers. She grieves when she finds out he's dead. So it's not that she doesn't feel emotions. So why is her character taken to this like robotic place? She's just treated like a robot, and I don't get it. And the other thing, my other problem with Violet's character is her background. Because again, it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me at all in the beginning. So I went and read some Reddit posts. And this is what I understood. So Violet doesn't have parents. She's an orphan, and I guess she grew up on the streets. So this means that she's always had to defend herself, and so she's a good fighter. And since she can't feel emotions, which I don't even agree with in the first place, she doesn't feel anything when she kills people. So she's like a killing machine and a great asset to the military. That's how she ended up there. But the problem is that just growing up on the streets doesn't make you like a super fighter like that, right? Because from what we see, it looks like she knows really advanced martial arts techniques. She is just completely unbeatable in battle, but she's a child. So how did that happen? Shouldn't there be some kind of explanation for it? And there are other unrealistic things too, like small things. Why doesn't she wear a helmet when they're literally going to battle? When she loses her arms, do gunshots actually just make someone's arms fall off cleanly like that? If someone is shooting her, she's not even wearing a helmet. Wouldn't they try to shoot her head or her heart? Why the arms? And why would gunshots make her arms fall off, and both of them in exactly the same way? And when Gilbert was like wounded and the explosion happened, how did he know it was going to happen, and how did he just move her out of the way so that she survived and he didn't? Like this huge explosion and he just moved her out of the way. Just unrealistic things like that that don't have an explanation. So when you talk about these like inconsistencies or just like unrealistic or unexplained aspects, people will say that that's not what this show is about, so it's irrelevant and it doesn't matter, because the real aim of the show is the emotional impact. And I argue that it doesn't do a good job with the emotional impact. It just lacks any subtlety and nuance and feels shallow at the end. Because I am not someone who only loves action-packed, plot-based stories and cannot enjoy deep and character-focused stories. Because I can, and I do. I loved another anime called March Comes In Like a Lion, and it's so similar. It's also about a lonely protagonist with a tragic past, and it's about how he is now adjusting. And it doesn't have much of a plot, but I still really enjoyed it. The portrayal of the protagonist's loneliness is just heartbreaking, and it's amazing to see him now like meet new people, interact with them. And in my opinion, that story doesn't need a plot. It's just fine as it is. I loved it so much. What it did is that it told the story with subtlety, and it developed the characters well enough that I really care about them, because I feel that these are fictional characters, and to make me feel as if they're human and to relate to them so much and care about them, it needs work and it needs good writing. So when I am introduced to random characters that Violet is simply writing a letter for, I I can't relate to them, and when I get just overly melodramatic scenes of something super sad happening to them, I don't feel anything. And I had so many moments where there would be a super sad scene going on with like slow shots and like slow piano music, emotional music, and I wouldn't feel anything because I can see what they're trying to do. It's not subtle, and there's nothing to back up those characters, so these fictional characters won't feel real enough to me to make me cry about them. So overall, I thought it was visually great. It had the potential to tell a story that I could really enjoy because of the interesting concept and setting of this postal company, but it did not use them, and there was weak character development and just heavy handed emotional kind of writing which hindered my enjoyment. If you liked it, don't cancel me. It's not like I'm a contrarian and just wants to bash on this show. I found just a couple of bad reviews of this show on Reddit, and people in the comments were so mean. But I didn't like it, and I'm disappointed that I didn't like it. I wouldn't go into a show not hoping that I love it. So that was my review of Violet Evergarden. Thank you for watching.